You spent 12 years in school. It made you less intelligent. Here's the proof. Think about the last time you were genuinely, deeply curious about something. Not because a teacher told you to care. Not because it was going to be on a test, but because something grabbed your mind and wouldn't let go. When was that? Now think about the last time you felt that way inside a classroom. For most people, those two answers are very different moments. And that gap, that distance between your natural curiosity and what school did to it, is not a coincidence. Here is a fact that the education system does not want you to sit with. A NASA study tested creative genius in children. Children aged 5 scored at genius level 98% of the time. The same children tested again at 10 years old, after 5 years of school, scored at genius level 30% of the time. Tested again at 15, after 10 years of school, only 12% scored at genius level. The longer children stayed in school, the less creative genius they retained. The same study tested adults who had completed their full education. Only 2% scored at genius level. 2%. We are not born dumb. We are not naturally uncreative, or incurious, or intellectually limited. We are educated into it. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how it was done and why it was done on purpose. Before we talk about how school makes you dumber, we need to establish something fundamental. What is intelligence? Because school has a very specific answer to that question. And that answer is wrong. School defines intelligence as the ability to memorize, recall, and reproduce information accurately under timed conditions. That's it. That is the entire definition of intelligence, according to every standardized education system on Earth. But here is what actual neuroscience says intelligence is: the ability to make connections between unrelated ideas, the capacity to ask questions nobody has asked before, the drive to understand why something works, not just that it works, the skill of sitting with uncertainty and navigating toward clarity, the creativity to imagine solutions that don't exist yet. None of those things are measured by a test. None of those things are rewarded in a classroom. In fact, every single one of those things is actively punished by the modern school system. Ask too many questions, and you slow down the lesson. Think about a problem in an unconventional way, and you get the answer marked wrong. Pursue a subject you're genuinely passionate about, and you're told to get back to the curriculum. Show creativity when the teacher wanted compliance, and you're called disruptive. School doesn't measure intelligence. School measures obedience. And for 12 years it trained you to confuse the two. To understand why school makes you dumber, you need to understand what school was actually built to do. Because it was not built to educate you. In the 1840s, the United States looked at Prussia, modern-day Germany, and decided to copy their school system. And the Prussian school system was not designed by educators or philosophers or scientists. It was designed by a military general. General Johann David von Scharnhorst designed the Prussian school system with one explicit goal: to produce soldiers and factory workers who would follow orders without question, obedient, punctual, compliant, capable of executing instructions without needing to understand why. Sound familiar? The American industrialists who funded the adoption of this system were not interested in an educated population. They were interested in a productive one. And productivity in the industrial age did not require creativity, or critical thinking, or curiosity. It required compliance. John D. Rockefeller, one of the primary funders of the American public school system, said it himself, openly, in writing. "I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers." That was the design brief. Not educate children. Not develop human potential. Not prepare young people for a meaningful life. Create workers. Create soldiers. Create people who sit in rows, follow instructions, raise their hand before speaking, wait for permission, and do exactly what they are told. And here is the part that should genuinely disturb you. That system, designed in the 1840s for factories and battlefields, is the system you attended. The bells, the rows of desks, the teacher at the front, the standardized tests, the grades, the permission to speak, the punishment for questioning. Nothing fundamental has changed in 180 years. Now, let's get specific. Because this isn't just philosophy. Here are 7 concrete, documented, scientifically verified ways the school system actively reduces your intelligence. 1. It destroys intrinsic motivation. Psychologists distinguish between two types of motivation: intrinsic, doing something because you genuinely find it interesting or meaningful, and extrinsic, doing something for an external reward like a grade or a gold star. Children are born with overwhelming intrinsic motivation. Watch any 3-year-old. They are relentlessly curious, endlessly experimental, and completely self-directed in their learning. School immediately replaces this with extrinsic motivation. You don't learn because learning is fascinating. You learn because there is a grade at the end of it. And what decades of psychological research shows, documented in a landmark 1973 study by Lepper, Green, and Nisbet, is that introducing external rewards for an activity people already enjoy intrinsically destroys their internal motivation for that activity. They called it the overjustification effect. What it means is, school took your natural love of learning and replaced it with grade chasing. And when the grades stopped mattering when you graduated, the learning stopped too. Because school never taught you to learn. It taught you to perform. 2. It teaches you that there is always one right answer. Every test question has one correct answer. Every problem has one approved method. Every essay has a rubric. Every creative project has a marking criteria. Real life has none of these things. Real problems are ambiguous, contradictory, and rarely have a single correct answer. Innovation requires the ability to sit with multiple competing possibilities and navigate between them. Entrepreneurship requires making decisions without complete information. Leadership requires judgment that no rubric can teach. But 12 years of school trained your brain to look for the one right answer, to feel anxious when there isn't one, to distrust your own judgment unless it has been validated by an external authority. This is not education. This is cognitive dependency training. 3. It eliminates failure as a leer. Failure is the most powerful learning mechanism in the human brain. Neuroscientists have shown that the brain grows most rapidly and builds the strongest neural pathways when navigating failure and correction. In school, failure is a punishment, a bad grade, a mark of inadequacy, something to be avoided at all costs. So students stop taking intellectual risks. They stop attempting things they might get wrong. They optimize for the safe answer, the answer they know is correct, rather than the interesting answer, the answer that might teach them something extraordinary. School trained an entire generation to be intellectually risk-averse. And intellectually risk-averse people do not invent things. They do not build things. They do not change things. They maintain things, exactly as designed. 4. It punishes divergent thinking. Divergent thinking is the ability to generate multiple different solutions to a single problem. It is the cognitive foundation of creativity, innovation, and original thought, and it is one of the most well-documented and measurable forms of human intelligence. In a classroom, divergent thinking is called getting it wrong. If the teacher has one answer and you arrive at a different one through legitimate creative reasoning, you still fail the question. The system has no mechanism to reward original thought. It only has a mechanism to reward correct reproduction of approved thought. Over 12 years, your brain learns the lesson. Don't think differently. Think correctly. 5. It segregates knowledge into artificial silos. History is taught separately from economics. Science is separated from philosophy. Mathematics is disconnected from art. Literature is isolated from. But the real world does not work this way. The most important breakthroughs in human history happened exactly at the intersection of disciplines, when someone took an idea from one field and applied it to another. Darwin's theory of evolution was fundamentally an economic idea applied to biology. The architecture of the internet was a postal system idea applied to data. Most great art movements were responses to philosophical revolutions. School's insistence on separating subjects into isolated boxes produces people who know a lot about specific things and nothing about how everything connects. And the connections, the spaces between disciplines, is exactly where original thought lives. SIX. It optimizes for speed over depth. Every lesson has a time limit. Every curriculum has a schedule. Every term has a fixed amount of content to cover, regardless of whether students have actually understood it. Understanding real, deep, cellular understanding of a concept takes time. It requires sitting with an idea long enough to question it, test it, break it, and rebuild it in your own mental architecture. School gives you 45 minutes. Then the bell rings, and you move to the next subject. This creates what educational psychologists call shallow processing, the ability to recognize and reproduce information without ever developing a genuine understanding of it, which is exactly why 90% of what you learned in school you cannot recall today. You never actually learned it. You processed it at the minimum depth required to pass the test. And then your brain, correctly identifying it as low-value, shallow information, discarded it. 7. It teaches you to need permission. Raise your hand before speaking. Ask permission to use the bathroom. Wait for the bell before leaving. Do not begin until instructed. Do not question the assignment. Do not deviate from the curriculum. For 12 years, the most consistent lesson school teaches is this: you need permission to act. And this lesson does not stay in the classroom. It follows you into your career, where you wait for your boss to tell you what to do, instead of identifying problems and solving them independently. It follows you into your creative life, where you hesitate to make things until someone with authority validates your right to make them. It follows you into your financial life, where you wait for permission from society to pursue something unconventional, instead of building the life you actually want. The most successful people in the world, the ones who built things, changed things, invented things, share one common trait. They stopped waiting for permission. School spent 12 years training you to need it. Let me tell you about two people. The first is named James. James was an exceptional student. Straight A's from elementary school through university. Never missed an assignment. Always prepared. His teachers loved him. His parents were proud. He graduated with a first-class degree in economics and went directly into a prestigious consulting firm. 10 years later, James is deeply, quietly miserable. He is excellent at executing tasks given to him. He is precise, reliable, and thorough. But when asked to identify a problem nobody has named yet, to look at a situation with no rubric and decide what matters, he freezes. He has never developed that capacity. School never asked him to. He is, by every measure the system created, a success. And he has no idea what he actually wants, or who he actually is outside of performing well on things other people designed. The second person is named Marcus. Marcus was a terrible student. Distracted, disruptive, constantly told he wasn't applying himself. He failed 2 years of high school. His teachers wrote him off. He dropped out at 17. At 28, Marcus runs a company with 40 employees. Not because he was smarter than James, but because school's failure to contain him accidentally preserved something in him that school destroyed in James. His willingness to figure things out without permission. His comfort with not knowing the answer yet. His ability to fail, learn, and try again, without a grade to tell him what the failure meant. Marcus isn't a success story because dropping out is the answer. Marcus is a cautionary tale about what school destroys in the people it successfully processes. So if we have known about these problems for decades, why hasn't the system changed? Ken Robinson, one of the most watched TED Talk speakers in history, with over 70 million views, gave a talk in 2006 called "Do Schools Kill Creativity?" He laid out many of these exact arguments with precision and evidence and passion. That was nearly 20 years ago. Nothing changed. Because the people with the power to change the education system are the same people who benefit from its current output. Corporations need compliant workers. Governments need manageable populations. Universities need tuition revenue from students conditioned to believe a degree is the only path to a legitimate life. The broken school system is not a bug. It is a feature. It produces exactly what it was designed to produce: people skilled enough to be useful, dependent enough to stay employed, and just educated enough to never fully understand the system containing them. You cannot go back and undo 12 years of school. But you can do something more powerful. You can become aware of what was taken from you and deliberately rebuild it. First, relearn how to be curious. Pick one subject that has nothing to do with your job or your degree. Study it with no goal, no outcome, no application. Just because it interests you. This is not a productivity hack. This is neural rehabilitation. You are rebuilding the intrinsic motivation that school replaced with grade chasing. Second, practice tolerating wrong answers. The next time you approach a problem, resist the urge to immediately look for the correct answer. Generate 5 possible answers first. Some will be wrong, some will be absurd. But this process, divergent thinking, is a skill that atrophies without use and strengthens with practice. Third, read across disciplines deliberately. Read a book about physics, then read one about philosophy, then one about economics. Then look for the connections between them. This is not what school taught. This is exactly what school prevented. And the connections you find in those spaces are where original thought begins. Fourth, stop waiting for permission. Identify one thing you have been waiting for: external validation or permission to pursue, and begin it today. Without the grade, without the rubric, without the approval. The capacity school tried to remove from you is not gone. It is waiting. You were not born with a limited mind. You were born endlessly curious, wildly creative, and genuinely hungry to understand the world. And then you spent 12 years in a system designed in the 1840s by a military general for a factory economy, and it did exactly what it was designed to do. But here is what the system did not account for. Awareness is the beginning of reversal. The moment you understand what was taken from you, you can begin taking it back. There is a veil over this world. We just pulled back another corner of it. If this changed how you think about your own mind, I made another video about how your salary was carefully calculated to keep you trapped. Same system, different decade of your life. Click it right here. Subscribe to Human Veil. I'll see you on the other side of it.